to your identification.
What did you say? Now tighten those restraints. Scavenger scum.
We don't need to see his identification.
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, getting your pupils dilated, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom, fresh from my eye doctor appointment, and with me here each and every single week is the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am not dilated of my pupils.
Yeah.
And I feel like this light is too bright, and somehow this is not bothering you.
Yeah, I think it's been a couple hours now, but and I think my vision's starting to normalize. So
Fair enough. Are you going to be able to read your notes and all that other stuff?
Hold on.
I can tell you right now that if you can't follow your notes and keep us on track, we're fucked. Absolutely fucked.
Yeah, I suppose I can do that.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Shit, man. So how you been? It's been a couple weeks.
I've been busy.
Yeah.
Been very busy. The first week we had to cancel, unfortunately, because some work stuff popped up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it goes. Still plugged into the matrix that I am.
Oh yeah.
And then the week after that, you had dad stuff come up that you had to take care of. So, you know, again, it's just how it happens.
Yep.
So, and the irony is that I had just been talking to somebody. I was kind of, I don't do a good job of promoting the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shocking, I know. Kathy yells at me all the time because I don't like, oh, do you have a card? I'm like, maybe I might have one crinkled up in my wallet or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can give to somebody. But it just happened to be telling somebody about the show, and I was saying, yeah, you know, we've been doing it every week really consistently for, you know, so long a period. And then right immediately as I say that, boom, 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 2 weeks missed. So
yeah,
but not on purpose, for sure.
No, life
is,
happens.
Yes. And there will never be a point that, I mean, we can't do this by ourselves. All by ourselves. or the Green Day version.
Right. So anyway.
Yeah.
Or what are you fixated on?
No, I'm distracted by the chat, which is now due to a StreamYard update.
It's showing on the screen there.
Yeah, we kind of have it on the screen there. Which I mean, I can turn that off if we really wanted to, but I figure let's see what happens.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
So anyway, outside of that, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're gonna finally give our little wrap up talk for Rogue One / Andor. Rogue One, you have it in the notes as Post-Andor.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to kind of, we're going to talk about the movie Rogue One, obviously, as a kind of final episode of the Andor series.
Yeah.
And then talk about the series overall.
Okay.
As how I was thinking about it, like just giving the, the 30,000 foot view of the whole series.
Yeah.
And what we think of that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we're going to do. But in the meantime, we've got some business to take care of. So should we start with Patreon?
You, sir, should start about Patreon. Just you should talk about Patreon.
Words
are hard.
Yeah.
I'm not on the right screen. There's all kinds of bad things happening.
All right. Well, if you're enjoying the Sidebar Cantina's content, consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. For as little as $1 a month, you can...
I had to make sure we're on the right page.
That scream gets me every time. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast and help make it possible for us to continue to bring you quality content week after week. Ish. We'd like to give a huge...
It is a week after a week. I mean...
Indeed. We'd like to give a huge shout out to all of our current patrons: Frank Kalevich, Catherine Rennick, Dragon Buddy, Lord Helmet Fire, Nick from Swede Studios, my wonderful mother-in-law Patricia Goodstein, Don Solsky, Wally Frogmore, Chantal from Pop My Culture, Helen Martin, Sterling Azier, Nicholas Schaefer, Kristen Roscom, Carly Vickers, Ivo G, Shotgun Mark, God, there's a lot of people, Frederick Martin, David Schmuck, Scott and Kim from the Use and Abuse podcast, and the Orange and Fett Show. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/the Sidebar Cantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this.
Yeah. Like he said.
Had to get it on the third one.
Yeah.
It's hard snapping both fingers at the same time because you can't really get the... wait. Whatever.
I don't think I think there's something wrong with my joints where I can't.
Yeah, it sounds different.
It's like clunk.
Yeah.
Like it's, my when I try and snap my fingers, it sounds like you're closing the door of a 78 Pontiac Bonneville.
Right.
It's like something's really wrong and needs oil.
You know what people don't do anymore? This one.
No, they don't. Why would they do that?
Because it makes a lot of snapping noises.
Maybe that's why you can snap like that and I can't, because I would never do that with my hand. That seems like it would be painful.
Nah, it's all good.
I mean, my hands hurt just from trying to snap. Doesn't that sound weird?
It does sound
Why
weird.
does it sound like that?
I don't know. It does not sound like a normal person snapping their fingers. Yeah, that's strange. It's like a clunk.
Why?
Anyway, do we have anything for sidebar headlines?
I have a blank thing. So
the clean slate.
no, nothing. I got nothing.
Okay.
No, I got nothing. I was gonna ad lib something and then it escaped.
Okay. So, we got a couple of things that have happened in Star Wars over the last couple of weeks that we've been out. The first one that really caught my interest was a quote made by Tony Gilroy, the Jesus. People are revving their engines like right outside the door.
You know what's going to be great?
Hmm.
We're going to hear live, and hopefully the audience will hear it too, the sound of that dude's piston going through his hood and then landing on top of his windshield and cracking it.
Yeah. So, I heard this quote from Tony Gilroy, the showrunner for Andor, basically talking about how during the production of Andor Season 2, he was basically told by Disney and Lucasfilm executives that streaming was dead and that they're really pulling back on a lot of their content, particularly referring to Star Wars. And people are speculating that this means that after Ahsoka Season 2, we will get no more live-action shows for Star Wars.
Well, does that mean that they're going to put that back into the theater, you think?
That's what I'm hoping.
I feel like that's where the ROI is, right? Because
Andor cost $650 million to make.
Right.
How do you get that back with streaming? You know?
I don't know that you can, because you're not getting in merchandising.
Yeah.
Maybe you're getting people that are jumping on and off the platform, maybe, but I don't think anybody's doing like the whole, buy triple thing with your Hulu and ESPN. Nobody's doing that. I mean, I think more people are leaning into a YouTube TV or something that's almost getting closer to a cable subscription.
Yeah.
You know, the a la carte style thing. So, it's probably a smart market decision. I wouldn't complain about it as much as I love having this.
Yeah,
this
it
type
has
of
been
thing.
nice having this kind of content.
Yeah, because we know we're going to have it more frequently. It'd be so fun. God, I want so badly for it to happen. Just like, boom, and it's like explosion, and it sounds like a mortar shot.
Yeah.
Thump, and then crack. Anyway, I really enjoy having the content, but it means that for something like Star Wars that we're not getting anything out of the theater.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is meant to be seen in the theater.
Yep.
And I'm willing to sacrifice whatever could happen on streaming to have more theatrical releases.
Which
like,
I'm fine with that, but they got to actually put the fucking movies out, you know?
I don't disagree.
Back up what they're saying with all these announcements.
But they can, I mean, to me, they could take what they did with Andor, what Mandalorian, Ahsoka, like what they're doing with the Void, the thing, this with the screen and all that.
Oh, the volume.
The volume, thank you. The Void. The exact opposite of what I said. They can do all that and translate that into making more money with the movies.
Yeah, well, and we're going to see that in action when we see Mandalorian and Grogu next year.
Right.
Because they made most of that in the volume, from what I understand.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fantastic. And for them, I think that's a business model that they can get behind.
Yeah.
You can have the same quality of story writing and everything else. Because they're getting stuff out into the theater sooner, or out into media sooner. Like the post-production isn't quite as long,
right?
Because you already have pretty much everything set up. So, and then it's coming out of the theater sooner. So now you still can get some streaming audience.
Yeah,
because you're getting it out of the theater, but at least you're going to get that initial surge of cash from people that are going to the theater to see it.
Yeah.
Something in my eye. Oh my god. The worst ever. You ever have your eye just like not work?
Define not work.
Like not focus, or like my left eye all day today is like I've been looking through Vaseline all day.
Kinda, like I'll have these spurts where my eyes just like start watering real bad or get red for no reason. It seems like something like it would be like an allergy thing, but I don't have allergies. But just randomly every once in a while, like I'll have an eye up like that.
Yeah. Most of the time it goes away in the morning, but this has been it like lasted all day. I think it's because I slept like shit last night. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not surprised and/or that upset if this in fact does mean the end of the streaming.
Yeah.
And all right, let's carry the conversation forward, right? So they had the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Right? They had a show that I think at least for you and I, we wanted to see it go forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And because of whatever, marketing or whatever money
thereof.
money they're not making, they're not going to go forward with that product.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, you just put something out there that you have no intention of following through on.
Yeah.
Potentially ever.
Yeah, they'll probably finish it in a book or a comic, but
there is a book. I think there's a book out right now, actually.
Oh, really?
An Acolyte book, because I saw the Jedi, the crooked Jedi that obviously knows everything that's going on and is conspiring with Yoda.
Oh,
what's her name?
Yeah, I can't
help with the words. Can't.
It's not Finestra, is it?
Maybe. It's been a minute since we did the Acolyte.
Yeah,
but we're not, from a streaming standpoint, that's never going to happen. We're never going to see the other side of that.
Yeah.
So if they're not having to expend that effort to start something just to rip it fucking from us, like, oh, here's a little bit of content. It's the insurance commercial with the fucking dollar, like, almost got it.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like they were doing with stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, but again, if they're gonna do this and switch to strictly movies, then they need to actually follow through on some of these. Like, I'm actually confident that they're gonna get Starfighter out in a reasonable time frame because it seems like they've really fast tracked the pre-production and everything of this. So I know they're still casting. There was a casting announcement recently who like the female villain is. I can't remember who the actress is. But yeah, they've cast that now. So we got that, but I would like to see, a more steady stream of movies if we're going to go this way, because they've announced so much over the years and have not followed through on any of it.
Yeah, and we live in a time when the slightest rumor can blow up into, like, the story group could be just talking about something, and then that thing suddenly turns into, like, oh, hey, Disney is talking about this.
Yeah.
And as good as we are about not proliferating rumors that unless it's actually coming from StarWars.com, it doesn't keep that other stuff from hitting our faces.
Oh, sure.
And Bukkake of fucking Star Wars news all over our fucking faces.
Adds a visual.
My penis so smooth.
Speaking of Bukkake, you know who was in Japan recently?
The John?
Yeah. Not having anything to do with Bukkake, but
Right.
I hope.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Yeah. Was he there for business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Oh, good.
In fact, we should be, hopefully when he gets back, we can get a report of what Star Wars looks like over there, because they went to Disney.
Oh, right. Because there is a Tokyo Disney out there.
And they go to all the Disney places with their daughter, so take full advantage of that.
Yeah, shit. We'll have to have him give us a report.
That's right. You heard that, John.
Yeah, he can even dial in one day on the pod.
Venestra, you're correct.
Yes, I know
Venestra
something.
is up there. No, it's not there. It's over there. See, it's kind of there. Put more there. You know what I need? I need a pointer.
Right.
I need a point like one of those. Oh, I should get one of the when you're using the planes to show the maneuvering, like for tactics.
Yeah.
I'll just take one of those and just point with the nose, like there it is, right there.
Or just get a lightsaber.
I mean, but it's too long.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it works good. See, there it is in the chat, right there. Anyway.
Are you done playing with your toys?
No, absolutely not. But we can move on.
Yeah. So moving on from that, there was another story that caught my eye, and I've been seeing little bits of this over the past couple of weeks, and it's Battlefront 2 has kind of had a resurgence recently, pretty much since around the time Andor ended. Battlefront 2 has surged in popularity. In fact, it set a new Steam concurrent player record this week or last week. So, and it's also one of the top selling PS4 games right now.
Huh. That's interesting. And weren't we just talking like a few weeks ago about how I guess it's been a minute ago, but we were having a conversation about Battlefront 2, and I know I went back and was playing the
single player.
The single player,
Yeah.
Going through Adam Versio's get off of me. God damn it. What's happening?
What is happening?
I don't know.
But yeah, we were talking about that, and
now suddenly Battlefront 2 is having a resurgence.
So it's all our doing.
It is our doing.
Okay.
And we deserve more credit.
Yeah.
So people need to get on that.
Though,
hashtag we did it.
Though, to be honest, I still have not played it at all recently. I should play it on my new PC though. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Crank up the graphics to the max setting.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, I played. It's not the same developer, but Titanfall 2
Mm-hmm.
was on sale in the Xbox store
Mm-hmm.
for like same. It was like a Steam sale almost.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I'm like, well, I had it for EA Play,
Right.
but I was like, I want to own that so I can download it.
Yep.
So I did, and then I played through the campaign again
Mm-hmm.
just because. And what a good game! If you haven't played it,
No, is that the one where you're in a mech suit?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a super long campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get through it in a couple of days if you just sit down and that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
A couple rainy days, but it's just for a game that's 10 years old. I mean, it came out in 16.
17.
Titanfall 2?
Oh, no, I thought we were still talking about Battlefront.
No. Titanfall 2.
Okay.
Like it's a 10-year-old game and it still holds up.
Nice.
And the online servers are still full.
Really?
Yeah. I was playing online for a couple days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, and the people who were on there, you could tell, have been on there nonstop for 10 years.
Right. Are they just that good?
They were annihilating me. I was like, oh, I remember going on this map, and as I'm looking around on the map, I'm getting not fucking zick. Oh, fuck. All right. I actually got to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But the campaign is fun, and it's just one of those games that's kind of fun to go back to.
Yeah.
Because it's the mechanics that you're familiar with from playing with Cal Kestis and playing that game. It's
Same developers.
same
yeah.
developers. So it's fun to go back. The graphics are pretty good, comparatively.
Mhm.
I mean, it fucking runs like a fucking top on the Xbox X.
I bet.
And so does Battlefront 2. I mean, you get it loaded up on these systems.
Yeah, because that was originally an Xbox One.
Yeah.
game.
That and I downloaded Destiny. We were talking about
Yeah. In fact, after we talked about it, I put it on my computer and played with it a little bit. It was pretty fun.
yeah, I actually played a little last night. Yeah, I'll get into that when I get to my weeks.
Mhm.
Weeks? Yeah, I guess it was multiple weeks.
Indeed, it has.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting that Battlefront 2 is currently in the midst of a resurgence, at least as far as like online multiplayer goes and PS4 sales.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, we should maybe tippy-toe around that, see what it looks like.
yeah, I wouldn't mind just to see if they've done any more additions since the last time I played.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but that being the case, were we ready to move on to our weeks?
Yeah, I think we should get into it.
All right. Well, so this last week, I got a Switch 2 because those.
That's what S2 means.
Yeah, those just came out on Thursday last week.
Okay.
And I didn't have any intention on getting one because I knew there was like this mad rush of people pre-ordering, and there were people camping outside of Best Buys and all this stuff
Really?
to get one. Oh yeah,
Old school, huh?
yeah. So I'm like, I'll wait. I mean, I know I'll eventually get one because I buy every video game console, but I'm like, I can wait. It's not a huge deal. Whatever. Because I didn't buy a Switch 1 when it first came out either. I waited till it was out for a while.
Right.
But it's launch day. I'm not even thinking about it, just minding my own business at work. Kristen texts me. She's like, hey, we got some of those Switch 2s in. Do you want one? I'm like, at Costco, because she works at Costco.
Right.
And I'm like, sure. So just kind of got it on a whim. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's a good system.
So now you've played both, right? So you have a Steam Deck, and you have the Switch 2.
Mhm.
Like, which is the
Oh.
better?
I mean, right now Steam Deck is it, just because it's got a better library and it can play a lot of shit that isn't on Switch 2. So definitely the Steam Deck.
Okay.
But the Switch 2, if you're more of a Nintendo IP fan, the Marios, Zeldas, things like that, then obviously the Switch 2 is where you want to be. It came with the new Mario Kart World, and that was really fun. So I played just the single player. I played a few races in the single player.
Mm-hmm.
Destroyed the AI
Right.
because it was not challenging at all. So now I'm thinking I should go online, but I guarantee if I go online, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me.
There's people that somehow have been playing it for like 499 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, this game's it's only been out for a week. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like, you can't possibly have put this many hours into it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're running all over you. I'm not a Zelda guy,
Mhm.
right? But I know there's a lot of Zelda people that will like, okay, there's going to be a new Zelda game with the Switch 2,
Yeah.
most likely. And so they're going to buy it just for that. I feel like that's how Nintendo gets you guys.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're making a Zelda game, but it's for this system. So if you don't get this system, you're not going to play this Zelda game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they've got their exclusives that they don't put on any other system.
Yeah.
Or not even PC. So
They got you by the snardlies, man. They're
Yep.
fucking like, I need my Zelda. I need it. I need it.
but to their credit, you know,
I'll suck your dick.
to their credit, they always put out good quality products. Like, I don't know if they've ever released a bad Mario game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course they have.
Which one?
The first one,
The original Super Mario Brothers?
the original Mario Brothers.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
Why not?
I'm talking the Super Mario Brothers. From there on. Yeah, the original Mario Brothers was kind of lame.
I didn't like Super Mario 2. I didn't like the
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah, it was weird.
Third one was better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a GameCube, so I missed out on.
Yeah, Mario Sunshine for the GameCube was kind of the weaker of the entries, I think. But then they really stepped it up with the Wii, and
Yeah, there's a version that I have on a DS. It's like the version of the DS that still you could put a Game Boy cartridge in,
okay, yeah,
whatever version that
it's
is.
the original DS,
Okay.
Nintendo DS.
And so there's a Super Mario version that's on there that's actually not too bad.
Is it the new Super Mario Brothers?
It might be.
It's like the side-scrolling one, but it's like better graphics and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I think in one of them Mario can grow into like 10 feet tall guy and smash through stuff.
It's not that one. I know which one you're talking about. It's
Okay.
not that one. That one's. I don't know which one that is. I know it. It's not that one. It's
Okay.
Damn it!
That's all right. Don't stress yourself out.
I don't have it on me.
Yeah. So anyway, I got a Switch 2 because they had them at Costco and nobody was there buying them when they first opened. So I'm like, yeah, shit, why not?
It's like they're selling it and you're buying it.
Yeah. And again, I wasn't gonna get one at all, at least not for the first year or so. But what are you gonna do?
Hey, fate is what it is.
Which what was it? A couple months ago now, I was mentioning to you here on the show that I was kind of getting bored with life and I didn't have anything to do with my free time. Well, that's all gone now. So I got plenty to keep me entertained.
That's and it's the weather's getting better, so there's like all these other options also.
Yeah.
But then you have like, oh well, I want to do this, but then there's also this, and like
Mhm.
shit. Now I have all the things.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I have all the things when the weather's shit
Right.
and I'm sitting in the house like just?
Well, is the weather getting better? Because we've been getting a shitload of rain lately.
We need the rain.
We do.
I
Yeah.
mean, dude. Speaking of sidebar, I have I got this controller that I attached to the sprinklers in my backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it Wi-Fi's in, and I can like program it.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's real simple. It's just a gate, right? So it's an on or off.
Yeah.
But it's tied into the Wi-Fi, so it's smart enough to it looks at the forecast, goes like, hey, you're scheduled to water, but it's going to rain, so we're not going to turn it on.
Smart.
Yeah, and it's not crazy expensive. It was easy to get onto the Wi-Fi, and I've been kind of farting around with the Home Assistant a little bit. There was a guy at work who was into it, and he got me into like the front door of it, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of cool shit in here, but I have so much other shit going on.
Gonna be one of those guys that has like your fridge connected to the Wi-Fi and
no, there's limits. I do have limits, but for practicality purposes, like the sprinkler, for example, like I think that's one of those where the integration piece into Home Assistant I think is really valuable. Kathy struggles. Her and Alexa fight all the time. For whatever reason, Alexa doesn't like her, and
Right.
the feelings are mutual. And I complicate matters further because downstairs in my area, it's not Alexa, it's computer.
Right.
So and all the lights in that area are controlled by the computer.
Yeah.
So when I go down there, I say, computer, illuminate, and then the fucking lights come on. And I even programmed into the routines so that she can go down there and say, computer, turn on the lights, and it says, there you go, or something like that. It won't listen to her. It will not listen to her, no matter what I put in there for the routine. It won't listen to her. So what I'm thinking is, in Home Assistant, you can get like programmable switches that I'll attach through the Home Assistant.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I might just get some switches and do it that way, so that she can actually have a switch to hit. A physical switch, and it'll turn on the lights the same way.
Right.
But that's the kind of shit that becomes valuable with, because now you're, even without a separate hub controller, because like if you had a Hue lighting system, like, and everything all the lights you had were all on the same like kind of Hue hub, then you could do everything through the Hue app, and it would have all the same connectivity. With that Home Assistant, like it has, I don't know, probably terabytes of fucking people that have, or terabytes of information of people that have wrote scripts and used ChatGPT to like write Python to be able to go in there and actually like program a switch to do like certain things. Fact is, the guy at work did it. He put bed sensors into the bed, so pressure sensors, so that if you get out of bed, a light would come on underneath, right? And it would also like turn on a light in another room, like so you would have like, you get up, so you get to take the pressure off the bed, your floor lighting would come on, and then the bathroom light would come on.
Nice.
Right, shit like that. You can do all that level of integration, and you don't have to say anything or think about it. It happens because it's all sensor based, and it's using millimeter wave fucking shit through the walls. Fascinating stuff, fascinating. But it is a rabbit hole that is fucking like 300 fathoms deep, and I'm terrified to fucking jump into it.
Right.
Because I know there's a lot of practicality in there that I'd love to enable.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But I've got so much to do. I have so much to do on the computer that if I'm on the computer, I should be doing that.
Right.
And not this, not dicking around with this other stuff.
That's good. So anyway, I got to switch too.
And apparently you started smoking.
No, so I have been.
That's not what that means?
I have been cooking with a smoker lately. Kristen got one at Costco for a really good price.
Okay.
Last year, didn't set it up last year. Finally set it up this year when the weather got better.
Okay.
And I've been cooking with a smoker, and it's been going pretty well.
All right. What have you cooked?
Mostly burgers and hot dogs, but we also made like a cream cheese dip in it. Some flavored smoked Cheez-Its.
Really?
Yeah, they turned out really good.
I miss Cheez-Its.
Yeah. I don't think they're gluten free.
I know they're not gluten free. Otherwise, I wouldn't miss them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeses were a staple of my snack diet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I pretty soon I want to do like either like ribs or like a
Ribs.
like a pork loin or something. But yeah, I want to do a bigger.
Penis so smooth.
I want to do a bigger thing of meat next time, or chicken.
My penis so smooth.
So, but yeah, it's been fun. Learning a lot.
Like how big? Like, what are you smoking with? What are you using to smoke said meats?
Oh, it's this massive fucking contraption. It looks like a grill. Looks like a big fancy grill, but it's all a smoker.
So what do you? I mean, like, what are you lighting on fire?
Oh, charcoal.
Oh, just regular charcoal.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they specifically said do not do. I guess now they have like instant charcoal, faster burning charcoal or something like that. But they said
because there's all the chemicals in that.
yeah, they specifically said don't use that.
Right. It's the same thing with like. Remember as a kid, we're like, hey, we're gonna do a barbecue, and you get that from Kmart, you'd get that kettle.
Oh yeah.
Or you get that grill that everyone had for at least once, and then it like fell apart.
Yeah, the round one.
Yeah. So you had that, and then they piled up all their charcoal in it, and then they took the lighter fluid, and like fucking lighter fluid all over, and then like giant flames. Yeah. And then we threw, mammal flesh on top of it and ate that. All the fucking fumes and all the shit from the lighter fluid and the charcoal that we probably shouldn't have been eating. But yeah, I mean, like regular straight charcoal is probably good.
Yeah.
And you need to get some like some fancy wood. You need to get like a cherry wood or something.
Oh, we've been doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Kristen got some, and yeah,
Nice.
we put it in foil. Once with all the charcoals on, we throw that on top.
Okay.
And yeah, it adds another layer of flavor.
Just a little something to it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. So that's what I've been up to. I've used that 3 times in the last 3 weeks.
Nice.
So it's been going well.
I can dig it. That's hey, the weather gets nicer and it's go outside and cook. It's daylight till fucking almost 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yep. But that's all. That's all I've really been up to, other than working and playing video games.
It's
and fixing my son's car.
it's a simple life.
Yes. Great quote.
So I'm gonna start this with my downer, and then I'll go from there so I can pick back up my positive energy from it. The skin cancer's back on my face.
Oh shit.
Got a biopsy done, got the results back.
Same spot or
It's a little bit lower. But same area.
yeah.
And I've gone through, like, I had a bunch removed, and then I did some like chemotherapy stuff. And now they're waiting waiting to see what they're going to do next. Asking some specialists. So I only say that it's like it's wear sunscreen. Just like, even if you don't think you need to, just fucking put on some sunscreen for God's sakes. It's the worst ever. Because I feel like it's one of those things where I asked the dermatologist like about the sunscreen, like what levels and everything else, and they're like, I guess because most people don't put it on, like any sunscreen is better than none. But that being said, they prescribe me this sunscreen, and it's not. I mean, it's like 50. It's not even that much, and that's what they prescribe me to put on. But it's only good if you put it on,
right,
and then reapply. And I'm horrible at reapplying, cancer or not. So it sucks.
Yeah, shit.
But it'll be something I got to deal with this summer, probably in the next couple weeks. So good news is on this side of my face. So this side that the camera sees would be good to go.
They won't see your bandage or anything.
Right. But this side, fucked. Destination fucked. Anyway, wear sunscreen, kids. Speaking of being outside,
Mhm.
went to the World War II air show yesterday.
Haven't you had enough of air shows recently?
So you're not the first person to tell me that. What was nice about this, like, first of all, I went with Helmet Fire,
Uh-huh.
and he had not been to this one out in Reading before.
Right.
And what's cool about this one, I've talked about our show before. It's my fucking screenshot on my iPad is, from the one I went to a couple years ago.
Yes.
You can see the B-29 on there, the good one, Fifi, not Doc. The Doc's a cool airplane. Just don't deal with the people on it. Yeah, it was cool to just go and be a spectator.
Mm.
And the biggest problem with that is that in my head, I'm like looking at all the logistical stuff, and I'm like, oh God, I wish we had that. I wish we had this for the parking situation. And, I wish our buses ran this effectively. And doing shit like that in my head, just I couldn't look at it with just a spectator perspective, which kind of sucked. But at the same time, it had nothing to do with me. Like, even if I did see something, I was like, well, that's probably not right. No, it's not my problem.
Right.
I can move on.
At least you can differentiate that.
Yeah. But it's such a good air show because it's all World War II stuff.
Yeah.
And this year, something I missed last year, and they were doing this year was they actually did a paratrooper jump out of there are a multitude of airplanes that are a variation of DC-3, which is what my grandfather jumped out of.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was weather that was coming in, and the winds were starting to get close to their F limit, but they jumped anyway. It was like 2 sticks of jumpers. So It was like 20 jumpers, and they did one pass with one stick and then another one. And it was fucking cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that view of that close anyway with static line jumpers before.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the period like garb. So they were dressed like
in the old uniforms and everything.
Yeah. So they were set up like D-Day because the C-47s had D-Day, all their D-Day stripes on them and stuff like that. For those who don't know or watch a minute of Band of Brothers, the D-Day markings on the planes, it was the black and white stripes. That's how you can kind of they had visual representations so they could identify friend or foe. So that they were representing the Screaming Eagles of the 101st. So that they had those patches on, and they had more of a European theater kind of get up as opposed to my grandfather's uniform would have been slightly different. But the jump boots, and the rigging and everything else would have been very similar.
Okay.
They obviously didn't have the weight on that he would have had. I mean, they weren't jumping with 100+ pounds.
Yeah.
That would just be stupid. And we think one of them probably busted an ankle or a leg because there was an ambulance out there for a little while.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was windy as shit, right? It's a static jump, and you're counting entirely on your PLF.
Yeah.
So we had the wing historian was out there with us, and he was a Marine. And he was, he had his jump wings. So him and a buddy of his that were there, they were like critiquing the jump, which was really funny.
Yeah.
Like you're allowed, you've done it.
Yeah.
So you get it. The closest thing I got to do was from the tower to practice our PLFs. I don't know if you remember that from survival school. Like jumping out of that tower to practice your PLFs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and the reason I remember it and what makes me think about it is I was so bad at it. I mean, I probably went up at least 10 times.
Really?
Yeah. They just kept sending me back up there. And I would get up there and they would tell me again, it's like, here's your ankle, side of your knee, hip, land with this, and then you got to roll your
yeah, then you got to flop.
Then you got to flop over, right? And I'm like, yes, I got everything you just said. And then and then hit that gravel and just completely fucking eat it. And fucking, I just remember the helmet they give you. My helmet's filled with fucking pea gravel, and I'm just standing there, and I got some fucking asshole yelling at me to fucking get the fuck back up there. And then I gotta go back all the way back up that fucking tower to do it again. And I know I had a fucking concussion by the end of that. I was just like, my head bounced off that fucking gravel so many goddamn times. I was so bad at it. So, you can appreciate the idea that was supposed to work. I mean, I get it, but then I watched all those guys, and to me, every one of them looked like they just fucking fell like a pile. Like,
Really?
no, like, you didn't see the legs roll over on any of them. I mean, one guy looked like he fell like pretty decent. I got pictures of it. So I was like, oh yeah, he looked like that. Looked like he controlled his descent well enough where he wasn't really, impacting the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of them looked like oh god, that looked like it looked like it hurt. But it was period parachutes and wearing period, costumes and everything, but uniforms. So very cool. Excuse me. Great part of the show. And a couple airplanes flying. And then the weather came in. And it was one of those where I looked at ForeFlight, it's a flying app for pilots. And I looked at I was looking for something else, and I just so happened to look at the radar shot, and there was this like line of yellow and orange.
Ooh.
That was like just like, and I made the little distance marker. I was like, oh, it's 25 nautical miles, bearing right down on us. I'm like, shit, this is going to end the show.
Yeah. So
we started packing it up, and we managed to get back to the truck before the rain started. So it was an abbreviated show, unfortunately, right. But we also didn't get it rained on too bad, so
that's good.
It's for the best. Oh, I had something for that. No, got rained on the day before. Went down to shore because you were talking about the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went down to shore the day before. We took Holly down to the dog beach.
Yep.
But it was overcast, kind of crappy. Went over to Brigantine to stop at Sandy Jack's, our friends that have the restaurant there, to get lunch, and it fucking started raining and didn't stop.
Yeah. Getting
soaked. It was pretty awesome. Like, I don't think the heavy stuff's coming down for quite a while. It's like, yeah, no. It was bad, but I had something for that, and talking about it did not help.
Oh.
So fuck. Anyway, did the air show. That was more recent, and yes, I once again have reinforced the fact that I don't want to do it again.
Right.
But fun fact, I had to, for bullets, for like just a briefing package, I had to put together like, the value of all the aircraft that were on my on the ramp for static display. $1.95 billion worth of airplanes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like those fools. Now only about $1 billion of that was under my control.
Right.
Like the other $1 billion was on the other side.
Now, how do you calculate the cost of like these old time craft.
So something like the B-29,
Mm-hmm.
they're a lot of them are like LLCs and stuff like that because there's one of two flying,
Yeah.
right? So it's a priceless airplane. So their values based on probably what they're insured for.
Okay.
And not gonna lie, I use ChatGPT to find out like, okay, what's the value of this airplane?
Mhm.
And I let ChatGPT or ChatGPT go into Google and find that shit for me.
Yeah.
But apparently the foundation that runs the B-29, they're like $40 million or whatever. It's like $40 million to keep that thing flying.
Mm-hmm.
The B-25 Panchito, that's like $1.4 million. You know, and it's the plane, the parts, the flying school, because they teach other people how to fly the B-25
Yeah.
that have other flyable B-25s. For those of you who don't know and don't know shit about airplanes, the B-25, if you Google it, they're most famous for being part of the Doolittle raid. And for those of you who don't know history, I weep for you, but the Doolittle raid was the first, basically America's first response to after we got bombed by the Japanese, and we loaded up a bunch of these B-25s, which are land-based medium attack bombers.
Yeah.
Loaded them up on a fucking aircraft carrier.
Yeah. They showed that in the movie Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, what a dumb movie. That movie was not good.
No.
But
I know what that response
right.
was.
So hopefully other people at least know what that was based on that. But yeah, fucking bonkers to do this thing because all you're doing is you have like a couple of bombs and a bunch of gas, no machine guns, no nothing that was any extra weight,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's a one way trip.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're gonna drop this bomb, and then we're gonna hopefully make it to the Chinese border, and then pray to God.
Yeah. Praying to God.
Yeah, $1.95 billion.
It's a lot of money.
Sounds like a lot. I thought why doesn't it feel like that it's that much?
Maybe because our budget's ballooned and we're now going into multi-trillion dollars worth of debt every year, and
So
$1 billion seems like just a smaller arbitrary number.
I guess maybe it's because I felt like they were just ripping so much of my life away,
Mhm.
like from the stress. From Chris in the chat, the B-29 rides, $250 for a ride in one of those B-29s is a fucking steal.
Really?
Like, if you can get on that thing for a flight for $250, fucking do it. Because that's like the cheapest ever. Like I think there were, to ride in the nose of the B-29 was like $1,300.
Jeez.
Yeah. And they were sold out.
Hmm.
Like the whole weekend. I mean, there were people in line to pay that to go do it, which I love, because as an aviation enthusiast and as somebody who's pretty tied into his family history for World War II, especially,
Mm-hmm.
this is an era of our history that I really don't want to see die. We advanced the science of aviation and how we fly airplanes, and just showed how big our fucking balls are to be able to go and do some of the things that we were doing in these airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
And the crews, the crews that went up and with the ridiculous mortality rates, knowing that they were more likely to die than not,
Right.
and fucking went anyway. And these people, it needs to be remembered.
Yeah.
And if you can go and watch one of these airplanes fly and you get to hear the engines and do all that shit, it has so much more of an impact than it does just to kind of walk around in a museum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of museums that do it really, really well. Again, I can, as Kathy can attest, I can walk into a museum with a bunch of airplanes and stare at it for a long time and continue to stare at it for a long time. Like, I have a problem. Like, which, speaking of, and I'm going to talk about it now, because who knows what next week will bring. To talk about the Lego space shuttle and the carrier.
Yes.
So, I did. I talked about it on the show.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I haven't put it together yet. I'm waiting till Father's Day.
Okay.
Did I tell I told the whole story?
I don't know. The more you talk, the less it sounds familiar.
Talked about like my dad building the model, like doing all that.
No, definitely not.
All right. So, quick version of the story. My dad was huge into models, like building models. I have at home, I have all of these fucking ships that he built, like all these model ships, like carriers and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy. When I was little, this is before my sisters were born, and I'm super into the space shuttle, like, and he was into it too. And we had models of the space shuttle that we got, like the Revel models, and he would, like, we'd put them together, and me putting them together is just kind of watching him do it,
Yeah.
and getting to put some pieces together, but like all the painting and all the other stuff, like I might get to put a decal on, but for the most part, it was, he was putting the model together and I was helping. But we had space shuttle with the crawler, like we had that model that was set up and that was in my room. I had models of the space shuttle that were hanging from my ceiling in my bedroom, and one of the ones was the space shuttle on the back of the 747, the same setup that the Lego just came out with.
Yeah. And
I distinctly remember this one because it was such a big build. Like, I remember how big the 747 was when we were putting it together. It took up almost the whole kitchen table. It was everywhere. And when we were putting it together, my dad was obsessed with the color of the landing gear bay doors.
Okay.
And he's like, the Boeing green color that we know, right? He's like, that's the color of the landing gear doors, like, and inside the landing gear doors and inside that bay.
Yeah.
Like, I have to have that color. Like, this, we can't put the gear, because when he built the model, he built it with the shuttle on the top, and the 7.4 was in the landing configuration. So all the gears down, like all the gear doors are open and shit like that. It's like the gear doors have to be the right color. So this thing was partially assembled for, and in kid brain, I'm probably maybe 10 years old, probably less. But in kid brain, this thing, it might have been out for a fucking year.
Right.
It was probably maybe a month until he found the fucking paint to be able to make the color so that we could finish the model. And then once the model was finished, like, kind of had it, and it was like, it was perfect. Like every one of those models in my memory, in my recall, was like a perfect representation of the space shuttle. Right, the orange for the outside of the external tank, like I can still remember painting that, on these things. So when the Lego came out with this configuration, I was like, this has got me and Dad written all over it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you needed a reason to fucking spend money on Lego, there's another one. Like make connections with with your kids by putting stuff together. Not everybody has the patience for putting together models, and I wouldn't recommend putting together regular ass models when you're using the testers, model glue and everything else. He had a I wish I had grabbed it. I didn't. I had the opportunity to, but I didn't. But he had it was an old lunchbox, one of those old gray lunch boxes that would have kept a full-size thermos in it, like old school.
Yeah.
He had one of those, and that's where he had all his model paint.
Okay.
And everything was in that. So I remember that thing being out and it getting in there with the paints. It was a thing. But these days, a way that you can connect with your kids is get a model, build it with your kids, and then they could have a core memory like that with you, even after you're gone. So that's it. Happy Father's Day.
All right. Cool.
That's it.
All righty. Well, I guess it's time to move on to our main topic,
Yeah, we should talk about Andor.
Yeah.
Since that's like the kind of the thing we've been putting off for weeks.
Yeah.
It's almost like we've been avoiding it. It's almost like, it's over.
Yeah.
Now we're like, it's done. Now we're like, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Dog dies at the end. Like, we kind of know. Yeah, all right, I know how this is going to go.
Yeah, because if they didn't die in those last couple episodes of Andor, then they died in Rogue One.
Well, except for like Bix, because we didn't know she existed.
True. Same with Clea.
Right. Like she could be out there.
I'd like to think she's still helping the rebels.
Yeah. Teaching them how to effectively scissor.
No, she wasn't the lesbian.
Who's Clea?
Clea's
Clea's the
daughter of
right,
Luthen.
right. Well, maybe she scissors also. You don't know.
I guess we don't know.
That could be your thing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
She'll do what she has to do.
Indeed.
My penis is so smooth.
Anyway.
Yeah. So how do you want to do this exactly? Because I had only prepped to talk about Rogue One.
Well, let's talk about Rogue One, and then I think we can loop it back and bring it into the series.
Okay, because I most of my notes were just having to do with Andor, how things from Andor affected Rogue One. So, hopping right into it. First of all, Krennic's shuttle is pretty badass looking. That the kind of sharper, no horizontal stabilizer shuttle.
So it's interesting you say that, because it bothered me when I saw this iteration.
Really?
Because I went and I looked for the Lego version of it, and it can kind of confirm why it bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not scalable to the other shuttle.
Oh.
The other Imperial shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like if I put that one together, it would scale nicely to park next to a Tidarium
Gotcha.
shuttle. So it kind of annoyed me. It's like it's a lot of black pieces to use for something that from afar would just look like a black pile of Lego. If it was being, because I in my mind I convert all that shit to Lego.
Yeah.
That's just unfortunately how my brain works these days.
Yeah. This was the debut of the Death Troopers, who have been widely adopted now. Right.
Who they broadcast their encryption which
Right.
I'm assuming that's what that is, right?
Yeah.
Because they're talking like that, I'm assuming that's their voice is encrypted.
So here's what's weird. I noticed this most recent watch through was, when they're on the platform, Krennic kills all the scientists,
Right.
and then the X-wings come in and bomb the shit out of the platform.
Uh-huh.
When Krennic's sitting there all like fucking disheveled and everything, and somebody in just a regular speaking voice goes, "Director, we have to go now," and 2 Death Troopers are picking him up. So I'm like, was that the Death Trooper just talking? Because I couldn't think of anybody else. So if you ever go back and watch that scene again, it's it's not a muffled voice. It's not like
Yeah, but there was on the shuttle as they were going into that planet.
Mhm.
There was another
It was Edu,
There was another human voice, like it was the
like another
pilot,
officer or something.
the pilot or something like that. When he was sitting there, fucking putting his gloves on, in the back of the shuttle.
Yeah.
There was a human voice.
Okay.
So maybe
It
it
could
was
have
just
been
a
him.
crew member. It's like the loadmaster trying to get like, come on, what the fuck?
Yeah. But yeah, the Death Troopers, they've been used quite a bit now since Rogue One, so they're really, adopting them throughout Star Wars. When we go to Kafrene, when Andor meets his contact, the guy that they are talking about at the end of the Andor show,
Right.
The guy with the broken arm, one of the things that he says was, "Saw's right, there are spies everywhere."
Right.
And this kind of leads into Saw Gerrera and, how he's super fucking paranoid. And a lot of what we saw in Andor, I think, kind of helps contextualize that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll save it for when I get to the Saw part. But
Okay.
much like in the rest of Andor, this scene ends with murder. Because
it's our first exposure to the Murder Express.
Yeah, it sucks being an informant, man, because you spill your beans and then the next thing you know, you're
Right.
fucking dead on a park bench.
Yeah, this is a good scene for us coming out of Andor because it's I like how for us as the viewer, we can look in and go like, okay, yeah, this is in character, right? There's very little variation here.
Yeah, whereas this was our first introduction to Cassian,
right.
Just watching Rogue One for the first time.
Yeah, this is so now I'm actually watching it as this is Cassian as opposed to when I watched it the first time. I was like, this is Inigo Montoya, and he annoys me.
Yeah.
I will say also we've talked about this before, and the music.
Mm-hmm.
The music bothered me more now than it has in the past.
Wow, because it bothered you quite a bit in the past.
Yeah. Well, I kind of warmed up to it a little bit. So because I've watched it a couple times, in between when Andor season 1 ended, and I went through a period where the music was like, it's I'm tolerating it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this last time I watched it, because Kathy and I sat and watched it, and for whatever reason, the music just struck me again, kind of like it did the first time.
Yeah.
And it just did not sit well with me.
And probably why that is, because the music was pretty good in Andor.
It was.
I loved pretty much most of all of the Andor.
I don't remember a
soundtrack.
single time in Andor where the music had this stutter to it.
Yeah.
Where it would draw your attention to it.
Right. There's a couple times where it does in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I guess you're in this overlap with something with John Williams, and maybe that's what you're trying to, I don't know, tell part of the story with.
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds like your fucking 7th grade chorus, playing. Oh, hey kids, we're gonna go play the national anthem here at the fucking AAA game.
Yeah.
And it just sounds bad.
It sounds generic to me. Like, it just sounds very generic and not even in the style of John Williams. It just, I don't know.
And even the stuff that was John Williams was not like it wasn't even in the right, like it didn't seem like it was in the right key.
Mm.
It just is like you don't. This is Star Wars. Like you don't have to. We're not paying somebody else, right? This is you're in the IP.
Yeah.
You can actually have fucking Star Wars in this music. You do have it.
Yeah.
In the end, you fucking finish with that
kind of took me by surprise too.
Like, so you're acknowledging that you can in fact play John Williams throughout this, and you chose not to.
Right.
Like, and it just bothered me. The music bothered me again, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to beat this horse, but I'm telling you, it as somebody who watched it this most recent time, it definitely it bothered me.
Okay. Speaking of the ending score, did Solo have the same thing at the end? The dun, 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 dun.
I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember.
Somebody open up a separate window and
load up Disney Plus.
Yeah, take a look at that.
Scroll to the back of Solo.
If it's still on Disney Plus, I mean,
It's gotta be.
You would hope.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to my notes. We go to Jeddah, and as they're flying over, and you're looking at the statues of the Jedi and everything that have fallen over. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'd love to see some sort of a backstory of Jeddah. Kind of find out more about that place, and how it was a place that worshipped the Jedi, and I'd be so curious to find out more about Jeddah.
No, I agree, and I think we talked about this the first time we saw Rogue One, and we talked about the Guardians of the Whills a little bit, kind of what their backstory was, as far as what the canon is being broadcast.
Yeah,
and it would be interesting, but I don't care. Like they obviously, like, whatever had happened to them, either the Sith happened to them, and that part of it would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, there's also that part where, okay, Jedi, you're not supposed to have attachments and everything else, but yet you have a statue that's obviously like 400 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like,
easily.
What is that for? Like, just a guy in brown robes. That's a statue. It's got to be representing somebody.
Yeah,
not just some generic Jedi. So who are you worshiping here?
Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because I've been obsessing lately over some ancient architecture, like Easter Island. I'm obsessed with Easter Island now. I'm watching all kinds of YouTube videos and stuff on it, and all the architecture from there, all the statues. And, the pyramids, been, watching a lot of videos about the pyramids and how they made them, and how, we really don't know a lot about it. And just, I find that stuff fascinating, that we have things on this earth that have been created by humans that we, don't have much record.
We should do that next week. Do we have a topic for next week?
We don't.
We should do that next week.
Do what?
Do like ancient architecture.
Okay.
Let's pick 4 things.
Well, let's go with Easter Island.
Okay.
The pyramids.
Okay.
I don't know what else we have.
All right. We'll come up with 2 more.
Okay. It's a lot of research, though.
Hey, if you're in the chat, pick out 2 more things.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there for it, though.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Stonehenge.
Okay.
I'm just putting it out there.
All right, fair enough. Anyway, getting back to this.
There's a lot of silence after that. People are going to be like, "Why was there such an uncomfortable silence?" No, it's just I just put it out there.
When Bodhi gets taken by Saw's people, he's doing his crazy talking, and he's like, "I need to see Saw Gerrera. I need to see Saw Gerrera," and they put the bag over his head and they start carrying him off. He's like, "We're on the same side," and again, that kind of triggered something from Andor for me, because we had instances where people are on the rebel side, but they're fighting against each other.
Right.
Yeah. So just another thing that really struck me as far as Andor goes. The labor camp that they take Jin to. Now that takes on a whole new meaning after seeing Andor. You know, the way they, imprison people and used them for
Yeah.
labor for the Death Star.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those where when I looked at it, I was like, we've seen like the labor camp style where, okay, they're in an outdoor environment, and then we have the indoor clean environment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have the best of both sides.
Yeah.
Where I guess where you want to be is in that technical clean environment.
Mm-hmm.
Although the floor is lava, I guess I'd rather be in a fucking sweaty cell than be on program with the floor is lava.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's which hell would you rather have?
Mm-hmm.
I really like what they did with when they kind of pull back, when they're in her dream sequence and they pull back and show her in that prison.
Yeah.
And you see like through the bars, and I remember it the same way that when I first saw it, like the stormtrooper kind of walking by out in front of the cell.
Mm-hmm.
It just gave you this immediacy of like, oh shit, this is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get up to a point, it's like, yeah, you see stormtroopers with the Andor stuff, but that there's like a kind of a group of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then for this, when they're walking by, it just like, it was Star Wars in such a different way that it kind of struck me. And like, even that, I really like that shot. I like how it was composed.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, since Rogue One was something that we hadn't seen or this style we hadn't seen in Star Wars yet, there was a lot of stuff like that kind of jumped out that, we weren't used to seeing in Star Wars, but now we're getting that between Rogue One and Andor.
Right.
To your point, the prison with the stormtrooper patrols.
Right.
So, we go to Yavin, and I noticed that the comm stations, because they focus on the comm stations for a minute, and it just reminded me of Clea's thing, because you can hear all the people talking and them kind of like tuning the dial and
right.
Trying to find I don't know what they were trying to find, but
you're trying to tune into the right HF station in fucking Manila and Tokyo, and everyone's talking on top of each other. You're just like, fuck.
Yeah, but it just reminded me of Clea and her whole setup. It was at this point too where I'm like, this movie is moving really fast, because the first half of this movie is just going from like place to place to place to place,
Mm-hmm.
different scenes, stuff moving along pretty quick.
Well, do you think it was moving fast because we have a really deep understanding of what's going on? Like, because we've watched it multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with you. I think everything was like, if we were watching this episodically, it's like almost like, okay, this is like the first 15 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're just like moving into like, I don't know. I got the same sensation that you're talking about, but I wonder if it's because we have so much backstory now.
True.
That we can accelerate forward.
I could see that. Let's see. Oh, so when they take Bodhi to Saw, and this was okay. I'm gonna make an announcement.
Okay.
Everybody, sit. Wherever special announcement.
Jason has an announcement.
Make sure you're all sitting down. I actually have come around to Saw Gerrera, because if you recall, the first couple.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
The first couple of times we talked about Rogue One,
Mhm.
I fucking hated Saw Gerrera. Hated him.
Uh-huh.
And now I get it.
Yeah.
With the context that they've added with Andor,
Yes.
I totally understand
Yeah.
everything that's going on with him now. From the fucking oxygen mask
Right.
to the super paranoia,
Right.
thinking that everybody's out to get him. It all makes sense now.
I'm 100% on board with you
Yeah.
with that. Especially because of the fucking
Yeah.
like
'cause-
he's not taking that oxygen hit. He's taking that ricin or whatever.
yeah, that fuel vapor,
the
whatever
fuel
it was.
vapor, which it has to be. He's like taking
Yeah.
a hit of that because that's what he's he's like fueling himself on it. It's like, all right, I need this carcinogenic fucking
Yeah.
hit of
This
that.
fucking bitch just showed up out of nowhere. Oh, okay. All right, I can deal with this.
Gorgle it. Like, yeah, like obviously we've watched him just go from relatively normal, freedom fighter
Mm-hmm.
to uber paranoid fucking just madman.
Yeah.
Like and now we've got to see the progression.
Mm-hmm.
And the book added some clarity to that as well.
Which book?
The book that we read a book recently that had stuff in this, didn't we? We read a book that had Saw Gerrera in it.
Okay.
We did.
I'm sure we did. I
know we did.
Or
I read it and you didn't.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, but
Hello?
anybody in the chat know what we're talking
Hello?
about? Oh yeah, we did read a book recently.
Yes.
What the fuck was it?
God damn it, Jason. I don't know.
All right, help us out, chat, because we're old and forgetting things. But yeah, no, I'm totally on board with Saw Gerrera now in Rogue One, because of what we saw in Andor. Like you said, that transition from him going from just a militant freedom fighter to this super paranoid guy, because we saw that he already had spies in his group, and then now this pilot showing up and he can't fucking trust him. Like, how do I know you're
Right.
not some fucking spy who's brought in here to assassinate
Right.
me?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she shows up and then there's the message. She's like, oh no, there's no such thing as a coincidence here.
Yeah.
Like everything's conspiring against me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then of course him taking the hit of the fucking the gas is just icing on the cake. Just so good.
I really wonder how many people kind of had that same revelation, right?
Sure, there's got to be a lot out there.
When Saw is going through his that monologue while they're defusing the bomb,
Mm-hmm.
or or sequencing through that, to steal the fuel.
Yeah.
And he's monologuing about that whole thing and like the presence in the gas, and then you see how it affects the fucking the terrorist kid,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when we started thinking about like, oh, this is like he's kind of fucked up
Yeah.
because of this shit, and he's kind of been exposed to it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's kind of like it's really fucking with him,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can fast forward and it's like he needs that shit to fucking just keep going.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, drugs are bad. Shouldn't do drugs.
Yeah, and I was the biggest opponent of Saw Gerrera for the longest time, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I get it. I totally get this character.
You heard it here, folks.
Yep. So I have come around to the other side. So yeah, after Andor, I understand Saw. I have a theory.
Okay.
So we're on Jeddah, right? And the Empire's like they're shuttling out kyber crystals like crazy, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, if this movie is chronologically accurate, the Death Star's already done at this point. So why is the Empire still like, pulling out all this kyber like crazy? And my theory is DS2 is, they're still taking the kyber, even though the Death Star's finished and it has the kyber that it needs.
Right.
I feel like the reason that they were still pulling it was maybe this is when DS2 construction is happening as well.
I mean, you could have DS2. You could have, we're going to take it so that nobody else can have it.
Could be.
Type mentality as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a little bit of that with how they were managing getting those other materials from the other planet when we're watching it in Andor.
Yeah.
That's a good theory. It could be expendable also.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. Like
Ky-
they need to keep refueling it.
Yeah, Kyber could be something that once you run so much energy through it, it could degrade.
That's true.
And maybe you need a new crystal.
Yeah.
So, especially with something that size.
Yeah. All right. That's a fair point. But we still don't have much as far in canon as far as when the construction of the second Death Star happened. Like, did it start before the first one was blown up? Because DS2 is supposed to be bigger than the original,
Right.
And the original took 15 years to finish, whereas if they started DS2 after the destruction of the first, then it would have only taken them 5 years.
Yeah, but you figure it's scaling, right?
Yeah.
So if you already have the tooling and you already have the technologies to build it, now it's scaling, and most of that is empty space with a giant fucking reactor system in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have enough space to fly a bunch of fucking starships in the empty cavern that is the middle of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking to DS2, now that I'm thinking about it too, because DS1 seemed pretty dense, right? It seemed like it was
It had that feeling, yeah.
It had just like this is a like it's meant to house millions,
Yeah.
As opposed to DS2, which just seemed like it was just meant to be a flying fucking howitzer gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm.
We'll have to do some more research on that. So yeah, that was my theory though, that maybe they're still in Kyber for the second Death Star. Chirrut Imwe,
Right.
the blind guy, he has to be force sensitive. Like he has to be, based on everything we've seen in this movie. There's no way he doesn't have some force power. But his story probably is he is force sensitive and he can use the force, but he's never been trained. Right. So he can use it in the context of his blindness. Can I have it help him to quote unquote see and, do some of the things that he did? Because, when he fights the stormtroopers or when he's shooting down fucking X-Wings or TIE fighters.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously channels his abilities through the Force.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's that, if the Force is a spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he's just not far enough on the spectrum to be full-blooded Jedi.
Yeah.
Or he just didn't fall into the right camp to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe because he was blind, the Jedi shunned him. We know the Jedi are fucking, they're a bunch of selective fucking racists anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how they are.
Yeah.
So if the kid's like are defective, like he's blind, he can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, he can't do the training. Too blind. He's too blind to do the training. Yeah, they're not trying to like pick the kid up and be like, yeah, he's really good in the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can overcome that. Nope, fuck that kid.
That's a good point. Maybe he was a candidate and they passed on him for the blindness. When he's fighting the stormtroopers, I fucking love, and I'm sure I've said this before when we talked about Rogue One, but just I love when he's whacking them with his stick and you see shards of their uniform flying off. You can see those white shards flying off as he's like fucking whacking them with his with his stick. I love that effect that they put in there.
Well, yeah, because it shows that the armor is only but so good.
Yeah.
Like, what are we wearing this for?
Right.
It's truly it's just a uniform. It's just for effect.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, saying that out loud just now, Stormtrooper, we know, and it's in canon. It's already been discussed by millions of people. The effect of the Stormtrooper uniform. It's it's a psychological effect, right?
Yeah.
It's probably cheaper. It's probably cheaper to hand you a fucking plastoid uniform
Mm-hmm.
that, if you need to clean it, you could probably put it in the dishwasher.
Right.
And then you don't have to issue multiple uniforms,
Yeah.
right? If something breaks, you just go and fucking replace it or 3D print a new one
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's got to be cheaper than fucking having a bunch of like no kidding uniforms.
Yeah, considering they've probably got millions upon millions of stormtroopers
Yeah.
out throughout the galaxy.
Yeah, if you're just vacuum forming a bunch of plastoid armor,
Mm-hmm.
end quote, with a environmental control system in it, you issue that once. All right, this is how you keep it clean. Don't fuck it up. And
Mm-hmm.
if something breaks, you gotta go see the sergeant over in fucking supply.
Yeah.
But that makes so much sense. I mean, like, if you're running an army that big, that you're responsible for TO&E, right? So if you're equipping, like, this is the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to give you a bunch of uniforms.
Yeah.
The officers they get a uniform allowance, but if you're just a stormtrooper, here's the same armor. That's how you keep it clean.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
That's a good way of putting it. I think we might be onto something there.
I blame SOS. I blame SOS for this.
Yeah. So I wrote this note as they're in Jeddah, like right after the Saw Gerrera's people attack the transport. And by the way, what does Saw's people want with fucking Kyber crystals? Because after they attack that transport, you saw them run up and grab the fucking Kyber
I think
cylinders.
I think there's just black market value.
Oh, yeah,
For Kyber.
probably.
That's just all it is. It just has street value.
Yeah. And then, after that and after the big fight they had, the Star Destroyer leaves. And I'm sitting here watching it and I write in my notes, why did the Star Destroyer leave? And then my question was answered in the very next scene
Right.
because they evacuated it because they're about to blow the fuck out of this fucking city.
Yeah, and I know when it left for me, I was like, yeah, that's not. Yeah, you're like when the people that are there, I'm going to put this here to intimidate you, and then suddenly that leaves.
Mhm.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not. Bad things are about to happen.
Especially right after you committed
Right.
this attack on their transport.
Right.
They're not retreating.
Yeah, if this was World War II and suddenly the engagement you were just having with the enemy and the enemy pulls back all of a sudden, probably means you're about to get fucking either bombed
Mm-hmm.
from an aerial bombardment or fucking some artillery
Yeah.
is about to get shed. Yeah, it's not historically. It is a bad sign. It is a bad indicator.
Yes.
I want to rewind, like, stop real quick because you didn't pick up on it, and I was hoping you would.
What's that?
And now I can't remember exactly where it was, but there was a really janky, like, Kathy picked up on it actually, where not the CGI, but there was like some demonstration of they were looking at. Oh, so the Star Destroyer when it's coming in front of like the Death Star.
Oh yeah, with
Right.
the shadow and
Right,
everything.
with the
over it.
shadow, which is a cool look, but like Kathy when she was watching it, she's like, that looks fake. And she's not wrong. Like compared to some of the other shots that are in Rogue One,
Mhm.
that has a very flat feel to it. Like it's almost like the model shop didn't go through the like a certain like a matte wash or whatever. Like if I see what she's saying when looking at it, because when you see the Star Destroyer like over Jeddah, she's like, that looks amazing. But that other shot just looked fake. And I was like, you know what? You're right. It did. It was after she said that, then I looked at it, I was like, it was kind of jarring because there's so many other shots that are just executed perfectly.
Yeah. It's a great looking movie.
Right.
Overall.
And then that one, like you go back and look at it, you're just like, I love the idea of the shot. Like, I know what they were trying to do, but there was something, it was almost too clean.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a thing. I don't know. I'm curious what other people think about that.
Yeah. Because overall, Like, I thought the movie looked fantastic, like throughout. Great effects, great, great locations, and
Mhm.
yeah, just beautiful all around.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
So skipping ahead, way over to when they're on Scarif, we see the scene where Cassian's buddy dies, his prison buddy, who's been with them the whole time that they're going to Scarif. You remember?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's there in the background when he gives the speech to Jin about how they've been doing this their whole lives,
Mhm.
and it really focuses on him a lot when they're on the beach and they're doing what they're doing on Scarif. So
Yeah, it's so much more telling now that you know who that is.
yeah, it's interesting, and yeah, we see when he bites it. So rest in peace, prison friend, whatever his name was.
We'll call him Bill.
I wrote Dave must love the scene where when they're attacking the shield base generator thing, when like the hangar opens up and like a fucking 100 ties all pour out and you see like all these ties heading out to the fleet.
Every time there is like a TIE fighter being deployed either from a hangar or like in when you're showing it actually like coming off of the rack or like coming out of the hangar bay,
Mhm.
it is there is movement.
Yeah.
My penis so smooth.
It gets much bigger when I see that.
Right.
It definitely it stirs the loins.
Okay.
And in fact, what's funny is like what Kathy say to me. She said, like you're rooting for them, like I'm rooting for the TIE fighters and everything. I was like, look, like next to my TV, I have that big display of
Yeah,
the TIE fighter and TIE pilot shit. I'm like, I kind of have a theme going here.
Mhm.
Like, look at what's here. She's like, well, you can like that but still, root for the good guys. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want that right now.
Right.
I want to see this. So it was just funny her calling me out on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, there's a there's a 6 foot tall shelf just chock full of everything you can think of that has a TIE pilot involved in it.
Yeah. You just have to give her the line when Galen tells Krennic, you're confusing peace with terror. And Krennic's like, yeah.
Gotta start somewhere. That's a good line.
Yeah. And that's really the end of the notes that I have for Rogue One, because I was mostly, again, looking for things that affected me post-Andor.
Okay. So, continuity errors.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you think there was any continuity errors that we
Nothing-
have because of Andor?
Nothing off the top of my head.
So there was one thing in particular that I thought I had taken a note for, and it's not my thing, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be damned if I can fucking remember it. But there is one area where I was there. I think it was in one of the monologues. One area. It's not the thing I'm thinking about, but it's like a small thing when Cassian is in the cell at Saw Gerrera's,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks about being in a cage.
Oh,
And he says
yeah.
he's never been in one like this.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically the Floor's Lava place, it wasn't really a cage. It was pretty well open. But
right. But still, it was a prison.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. In my head, I tried to write it off as like, well, he's not revealing he's always on, right? He's always the spy.
And that's kind of what I thought when I saw the scene, because it did click for a minute, like he has been in jail before, but maybe he's just trying to play it cool or play it off.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, this is a first for me.
Right. But yeah, that was kind of like, it's a small thing, and it's not something you could fix at any stretch. There was one other thing. and I can't remember it. So it must not have been that bad. I mean, for the most part, they did a really good job of maintaining the continuity that we saw.
Yeah. And it flowed so well with a lot of the characters from Mon Mothma, seeing her at the end of Andor going into this. And fucking Diego Luna. I don't know what it is about him, but that guy ages very well because he looked pretty good and pretty young in Andor. And, this Rogue One was made 10 years before that, almost.
Look, I think if people with Latin blood, they age better than us white people.
Right.
I just think it's a fact.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And so it doesn't surprise me that, because look at him and then look at Mon Mothma.
Right, because you could tell she looked older.
Yeah, you could tell that she aged.
Yeah.
Not to the point where you couldn't tell it was the same actor, but it was
right. And it didn't take me out of it either.
Right.
Seeing her a little bit younger looking in Rogue One.
Right. I would have liked to have seen, it was hard to see Jimmy Smits in the role, and then knowing that he wasn't in Andor.
Yeah, that's going to bother me for a long time, I think, that recasting.
Yeah. There has to be more to it than we know.
Yeah.
About availability and whatever.
Or maybe they dicked him out of some money when he came back for Kenobi. And
yeah, maybe. To play the character that much and then not be able to do it, maybe it wasn't something nefarious. Maybe he was just sick and they're just not letting on. I mean, because he is older.
Yeah, that's true.
We take for granted that these characters in our lives are ageless,
right?
But in reality, like, fuck, we're 50 or almost 50.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little bit older than us.
Yeah.
So at some point, things start to slow down a little bit, like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to Andor, I think overall, I can honestly say that Rogue One, as a movie, if we were like talking about season 1, season 2, and Rogue One as like the entire package,
yeah,
I would rank Rogue One as probably number 3 of those 3.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right.
But even though I still love Rogue One, don't get me wrong.
True. I just think from the, you might be able to like break it down by the 3s, since it was released in 3s, and maybe you could break it down even further.
Because 3 episodes is about the length of a movie.
Yeah. So you might be able to do it that way. But
yeah, then you're getting really granular, and then trying to rank each individual story could be tough.
Yeah, I think you have to look at it from an overall perspective of like, this shot in time, like when you shot this season, then you had a period of time go by, then you shot the next season. I think and then you have the movie and that production, like, and everything that went into that production. I mean, Rogue One has the potential to be one of the best Star Wars movies ever made if they fucking got if they did something with the fucking soundtrack besides what they did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they failed so fucking miserably with that soundtrack. I think they were what they were trying to do was something like, hey, we're going to have some John Williams elements, but we're also want to do something different.
Right? And you got to remember, this was the very first Star Wars spin-off movie.
Right. And it also, they did other things that were different too, right? The way the opening was with no crawl.
Right.
No opening crawl. You had the descriptions of the planets as they popped up. We never had that before.
Yeah.
So you have these aspects, but then you just have traditional Star Wars stuff where you have matte paintings and you have the dissolves and swipes that come and make it Star Wars. To us visually that recognize it. So why you don't stick with the score? Because aside from Mandalorian, which has its own vibe.
Yeah, it's its own unique sound.
Right. It doesn't try and mix in something and then stumble over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that every time that happened, it fucking it ate at me, like more than it should. I mean, let's face it, most of my reactions to things are probably more than they should be, but that's just how I am. With the music, really, to me, puts this further back,
Yeah.
you know, and it.
Well, one area where I did notice the music seemed kind of out of place when Jin and Cassian were climbing up the racks of the different plans and everything, trying to get to the Death Star plans. There was this part where I don't know if it was when Krennic and the troopers showed up or right before that, but it was like this really loud, kind of over dramatic music that just kind of seemed out of place.
I don't remember that. I'll have to watch for it.
Yeah.
The next time. I remember I can hear that music because it was going back and forth, and it, honestly, like when that was happening, like when everyone was beginning the death throes, like all right, the troops are dying, we can't discount the platoon slash Hamburger Hill slash Full Metal Jacket, reenacting that was happening with all these troops that were fighting against the stormtroopers on Scarif.
Mm-hmm.
And what the obvious implications of that were. Oh, I had something for that, and I lost it. Damn it! Nope, it's gone.
Oh, well. So here's a question for you: between season 1 and season 2 of Andor, do you have a preference?
That's a good one. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Because I lean more towards season 2, but I think it's also because, it's more recent. Whereas if I went back and rewatched all of season 1, I'd probably, lean towards that a little bit.
There's definitely recency bias. I think if I look at it holistically, I think season 2 has more content that keeps me engaged.
Okay.
Because I think there were times in season 1 where there was it felt like there was some filler with stuff that I really didn't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Again, that could just be me. If I rewatch all of season 1 again, maybe I have a different outlook on that. Because even when we did the recap, I only went into season 1. I went into like the greatest hits type thing to rewatch it. So my vision of what season 1 is kind of skewed from that perspective. But honestly, season 2 felt like, aside from a couple of instances where it was like, all right, this is just a little
when Cassian was stuck with those Lost Boys.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
The Lost Boys thing could have been way more abbreviated.
Yeah,
we get it. Like, I would have rather him spent more time. Again, this is my TIE pilot bias here, but I would have rather him spent more time actually, like, maybe in the aircraft trying to engage with something, or like escaping from the fucking Edwards Air Force Base test cell that he was in. That would have been more intriguing to me than the whole Lost Boys thing, because that had no bearing on anything later.
Right.
Like none at all. None. We did not give a shit about these people.
Yeah, they seriously could have cut out that whole part and nothing would have changed.
Yeah, but I think season 2 had more bangers.
Yeah, and it really built on what season 1 kind of laid out for us.
Yeah.
Because it introduced us to all these characters, and then season 2 really took their development to the next level for pretty much all of them, from Vel and her girlfriend to Clea. they really fleshed out Clea.
Right.
The Cyril and Deidre relationship, and that all the craziness that happened with that.
Right.
So it built on this stuff that was.
And it even had that little bit of like, okay, here's some levity with these characters, and then that little bit of levity that was in any of this, gone.
Yeah.
Like the shit's gonna hit the fan, and it's time for all of us to be serious about what's gonna happen next. And it was. Like, all right, we're pulling everything out of this. There's no fucking death sticks or any other bullshit that's happening in between this. This is all right. It's all serious darkness. No parents from here. The dog dies at the end. So we're here. Here we fucking go.
Yeah. So okay, and one of these days I'll go back and rewatch both seasons and kind of see how I feel.
Season one, episodically though, there's a couple of episodes out of season one that are just like some of the. Andor as a collective, I'll go on a limb and say that Andor as a collective, you can take probably 4 episodes of Andor and go like this, however 90 minutes of Star Wars is some of the best, most well-written Star Wars ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ever. You want to talk about just compelling and engaging just from a movie perspective.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Star Wars just adds to it, right? It's how we got to it. But it's just a good fucking demonstration of a show.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we got it in show form, instead of like as a series of movies. The fact that we were able to get these 24 episodes just made it all that much better.
Yeah.
They were able to really flesh out the story.
Like, and you got to think too, like in the beginning when you were like, man, this 3-episode format's really going to suck.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a tough time. And then not once did we have any issue getting, because it was like, all right, here we go. Let's get I know for me, I was like, I looked forward to getting to the episodes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a chore.
No, same here. And they did it perfectly. They in season 2 even more than season 1, where each 3 episodes was a single arc in a single period of time.
It was much more deliberate.
Yes.
So
whereas towards the end of season 1, I think they kind of got away from that a little bit, because I think there was one storyline that lasted like 4 shows.
It makes me wonder too if maybe halfway through they were like, hey, for season 2, why don't we do it like in 3s?
Yeah.
And kind of release it. Like, okay, we're not gonna we can't do that with season 1. Like it's just not, the flow isn't there.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, let's try and like.
And they did
start grouping things together.
Yeah, like even the first 3 episodes of season 1 were one story.
Yeah,
about,
more or less.
Yeah, kind of introducing us and then setting Cassian up for the heist.
Yeah, we're gonna look back and for a show that was never marketed the same as any other Star Wars entity, and just was out there as a like, okay, hold on to your butts. Here's some good content.
Yeah, and I mean, us and a lot of people out there were kind of wondering going into season 1 is like, why do we give a shit about this series that's a backstory to this one guy from Rogue One, and you especially with your Indigo Montoya
yes
labeling of Cassian.
Oh yeah, I was so not on board with this show.
Yeah,
like it was 180-degree turnaround for me.
Yeah,
100%. And it took a couple episodes to get fully turned around on it.
Yeah, it did take yeah.
But they started off on the right foot with, all right, I'm gonna get in this situation. I'm in a strip club looking for my sister, which unfortunately they never really closed the loop on that storyline.
No.
looking for my sister. Here's why I'm searching, right?
Mhm.
And these guys get all uppity. They confront him, kills one by accident, and is like, "Oh fuck, I got to kill the other guy."
Mhm.
And then he kills the other guy, and you're like, "You didn't have to kill either of them. What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
All right, and it's like, "Holy shit! All right, let's go."
Yeah, and that was just a taste of things to come.
Yeah, and it was like, "All right, you killed your fucking informant because you knew that if that one of these guys lived, you were gonna get caught."
Yeah, and he was going to be listening to whale songs and
All right, so and now you've made an immediate connection in the first episode of Andor to that same character.
yeah,
The first time you see him in Rogue One, he's shooting an innocent or an informant, and then the first time you see him in Andor, he's fucking kills a cop.
Yep.
And then the other cop saw him do it, so he kills the other cop.
Yeah.
And it fucking takes off. So it's like, these are not soft subjects of any sort
yeah,
in either direction. So it should have told us right then that this was like, wow, the epigee of this thing is going to be amazing. Excuse me.
yeah. So
Yeah, I agree. The TIE Avenger, HasLab, the next HasLab.
oh, is it?
No, it should be.
Oh, okay.
I need a. All right, so Connor Williams in the chat is defending that the Giacchino score was really late in the production. He had 4.5 weeks to write the score,
Which just goes to show that Disney didn't do their due care with the soundtrack for that.
and you know what? That's all well and good, but you still had an editor that could have fixed, like, all right, here, sit down, watch this, and when you have pieces of where the score intermingles, like where this edit should be, and it sounds like the 7th grader playing the trombone just fucking hit the other kid in the back of the head. Edit that out. Fucking fix that. Smooth it out somehow. I don't give a fuck what you do, but get rid of that, because it just took me out of it. Like, I don't need it to be John Williams, right, for it to be good.
Yeah.
But I do need it to be, like, for Star Wars. If this is going to be Star Wars, the composition is so important.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you put in there has to be fucking good. You can't put garbage in there. I don't care how long it took you to fucking write it. You put garbage of a score into a fucking Star Wars movie, it's going to degrade the fucking product. Star Wars is not meant to have anything but a solid score,
Right.
because that's how the formula that makes Star Wars what it is you have these characters combined with this type of story combined with this musical score equals this representation on the screen. You have all those things add up, and you go sit and watch that in a movie theater. That's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Take any one of those things out of it, and now you're questioning it. And for me, for Rogue One, it was the score. Everything else was good.
Now, I wouldn't call it garbage myself. I'd just call it
hot garbage.
I'd just call it generic.
The more I talk about it, the worse it gets. I was not happy with it.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to sit down with that gentleman and talk to him about it.
The guy who made the score?
The guy who made the score.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would sit there and I'd tell him to his face. I'm like, here, let's sit down and we're going to play this part of the movie. Explain to me why you did this and why this sounds good to you.
All right.
I would have no problem doing that. And you know that I would have no problem doing that.
Right. Now, you mentioned before how if we broke this down into the 2 seasons in the movie, how the seasons would be better than the movie. But how do you feel about the movie as being the capper on this story, the end of the trilogy, if you will?
How I feel about it's irrelevant. It was written to be the end. Like, it was the end.
Yeah.
I think Andor was written for Rogue One to be the ending.
Yeah.
Like, it was obviously that they wrote it to do that. They didn't write it to be like, oh, hey, there's this like sequel thing on the other side of it. Yeah, there is a sequel thing. It's called a fucking New Hope, and then it goes into the other things, right? I think it was very deliberate in the fact that everything led into Rogue One, and Rogue One was it.
Yeah, and Rogue One led right into New Hope.
Right. So we didn't need, if it ever comes out, if Disney suddenly is like, well, let's try and dig into the Andor can again, and they want to fucking start doing something like that, there will be pitchforks and fucking sticks with fire on the end of it.
Oh yeah, no, they should not touch this from here on out. Like this should be it for the Andor stuff.
Put it in a time capsule, bury it, tap the ground nicely where you fucking buried it, and just leave it be.
Yeah, because I know Diego Luna made a quote as they were hyping up Andor or the second season. He made a comment how he would love to go back and do like the year that him and Bix spent in between, segments of the season. You know how we had the 1 year jumps.
I'll have K2SO slap him in the face again.
Yeah,
and
there's a fresh one where that came from.
So that have you seen like the interviews where Alan Tudyk is talking about how that's the one time in Star Wars where it's actually on film that somebody broke character? Have you seen any of that?
Did Diego Luna laugh in that one? Okay.
Yeah, so Alan Tudyk, like, I'm sure everyone else that's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast has seen this, but Alan Tudyk, says that when he gives him the slap, you can see him on film, like that Diego Luna is obviously smiling and kind of laughing behind his hand. And if you go back and look, you can obviously see like there's the laugh lines are there
right
after that. And, Alan Tudyk, he goes on to talk about how it's like, Star Wars is not one of those places where just something like that makes it.
Sure.
And Kathy actually saw something online about that. So it intrigued her that was part of a thing, this factoid for Star Wars. And she's obviously not the most avid Star Wars fan. My dumbass. So they're talking about this. They're talking about the slap, and I'm watching it in Rogue One. And I see him do it, and I know that I'm looking. I see Diego Luna laughing. I could tell that he's laughing. And in my brain, I go, man, that must have hurt. He's in that fucking metal suit.
Yeah.
That must have fucking hurt. And then it took me like a day. Was sitting at the kitchen table, and I just, for whatever reason, it popped into my fucking head. What an idiot I am. Because Alan Tudyk's in a mocap suit.
Yeah.
In that scene. He's not K2SO.
Right.
Like, so it's either like I'm a giant fucking idiot, which fair, or that they did this character so well that I would immediately, my suspension of disbelief was there.
Yeah.
But when they were talking about this fucking thing, all I could think about was how he could have just laughed off the slap if you got hit in the face with this metal hand.
Right.
And it took me a full 24 hours to fucking like realize you dumbass. He's in a fucking mocap suit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a regular old hand. Like, God,
But that goes to show how good the effects were too.
Right.
Where, them standing next to K2SO looked completely natural.
Yes. Even though like for some of the scenes K2SO was a fucking cardboard face up here so they had something to look at.
Right.
But yeah, I felt like such a fucking idiot, man. I just like I really was like invested in that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a whole fucking day. A whole day.
That's all right. We all have our moments, especially us now that we're becoming seniors and having our senior moments.
Dude, I am steps away from like free coffee at McDonald's.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know how terrifying that is?
Yeah.
I had that realization driving with Kathy. We were like talking about something, and my grandfather used to pick me up and to go to his house on the weekends and I'd mow his grass.
Mm-hmm.
And he would stop at the McDonald's and he'd go in and he'd get his free coffee. And he'd come out. And I'm going to be old enough here, and not in the very near future, but in a near enough future where like it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not over the horizon. It's kind of on the horizon.
Yeah.
And it's just that shit is just fucking terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
This year is terrifying, dude. I'm telling you, man. Wait till 49 like goes clang, and now you're like 49 ticking into 50. It's like every day is something. You think it's bad now? It's like, oh my god, every day it's something.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling once the fucking clock rolls over, it's not going to be a thing anymore. I think it's just this like it's the 49 to 50 thing.
Mm-hmm.
That just it's like
because you're still in your 40s, you're still young, you still
right.
You're still vibrant, you can still do things. Like
I'm
I
hip.
felt, yeah, I'm with it. I'm here. But I felt like I was in my prime in my early 40s, and now all of a sudden that's about to tick to 50, and 50 is when people, well, not 50 even, but in their 50s is when people start fucking dropping dead.
Yeah, my grandfather had his first heart attack at 50.
Yeah. I think mine had his in his 50s as well.
But I mean, that was a way different time. Like
sure,
medication tracking. Like, I'm not thinking that that's what's going to happen. It's just when you get to this point, this on your timeline,
mm-hmm.
that you just go like, you can't help it. You can't help it.
Yeah,
it just happens. You're just like. You'll be driving along and all of a sudden something will hit you and just like, oh my God, Goonies is 40 years old. What? Like,
yeah.
Because I think Goonies just turned 40
this
past weekend.
Yeah. It was just a couple days ago, I think.
Yeah. Like it's just terrifying.
Yeah.
Just terrifying. It's been a rough year. Wear sunscreen, kids.
Yeah.
How we doing?
We still got a few minutes. Do you have anything else to talk about regarding Andor or Rogue One?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Honestly, I want to like before we start getting into the reads, I want to talk a little bit about next week.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna do this
Okay.
this episode about ancient architecture because I'm intrigued.
Uh-huh.
So what do we settle on? We got pyramids.
Yep.
Easter Island.
Mm-hmm.
Not Stonehenge.
Right.
Which I got shit for, but Stonehenge isn't even the most interesting circle of rocks in the UK by far.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Kathy and I went to basically a Stonehenge similar like rock circle in Ireland. And it was like just randomly like we drove down into Southern Ireland and like kind of back into like the coastal, and you could stand there and the view and everything else. Like it was fucking amazing. No tourists, no nothing else. It was just, in fact, I have my own bias because it was at that spot uh, while we were in Ireland when we got the call. My grandmother died,
Yeah.
and that's where we were, in that fucking that megalith in that area.
Yeah.
But again, that was one of very many, that we decided to go to as something Kathy wanted to see while we were on the island.
So why does Stonehenge get all the attention?
Probably because it's bigger. I mean, it's like it's upright. So you have those big what is it? Basalt stone blocks. They're all set up. Like it's you're looking at something as it was probably closer to its original form.
Gotcha.
But even with that, I think over the years, I think there's been some liberal interpretations of where those stones actually are. I think modern era has been all over it too much. It's not as interesting. Again, not as interesting to me. The one we were at down in Ireland and seeing the village that was built around it, you actually got a sense of what it was actually used for.
Right.
Right. If you're thinking about having this giant agricultural clock, when should we be working these fields? When should we expect it to get cold or to start raining? Having it set up in such a way.
Yeah.
Right. This is where we're going to build our fires. So we're going to settle in this area. Like it gave you just this like sense of like this is why those things were built. And you might get that at Stonehenge too, but like I said, I don't think you need to go to Stonehenge to get that.
Right.
But hey, if you're in the area and can go do it, apparently it's, I don't know, reading about it, it's kind of tourist trappy.
Oh, really?
To get out there, but I mean, so were the fucking pyramids.
Yeah.
But that's I'll save that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Pyramids, Easter Island.
I mean, that might be enough content to talk about just in themselves.
I think we need a third.
All right, DS2.
We're not talking about DS2.
The statues on Jeddah.
All right, so let's talk Easter Island. We're gonna talk pyramids. Oh, somebody mentioned Machu Picchu. I don't know a lot about that. Like that would require a lot of like new research. Both of these things, this is kind of like a refresh, and you've been watching stuff about it already.
Yeah.
So Machu Picchu is a good topic, but I don't know that I have time to get as deep as I would want to for a legit conversation. I've seen some cool shit.
Well, we don't have to figure it out right now. We can figure it out over the course of the week.
All right. Well, think about it while I'm doing the reads.
All right.
If you think of something.
Okay.
Because I'm going to do the reads.
You should do that.
I'm going to do the reads right now.
Good. Do it.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Then do it.
I'm going to fucking do it.
All right.
I'm going to do it.
Then stop talking about it and
Fuck
do it.
you. For ATSW Family Happenings. I should have a lead-in.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks. In a row?
Should be like a lead-in before the reads. I got to work on that. I'll add that to the list. Guppy, how long is my to-do list right now? I don't even know.
Hmm?
It's If you're familiar with the Bobaverse,
which I'm not.
you would get that.
Okay.
Which, when I bring in when I bring over the refrigerator,
Mhm.
I'll bring in my replicant matrix that Vickers printed,
Okay.
and we can have a conversation about that
All right.
and make that make more sense. It's a book that Solsky has read, Vickers is into, I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
It's good science fiction. Anyway, on Wednesday, ATSW The Escape Pod will be continuing their quest in Baldur's Gate 3 along with Lunar Girl. Will she actually listen this time, or will she pull another Leroy Jenkins? Find out on Wednesday in the live chat at 19:05, 7:05 Eastern Daylight Time on YouTube. This Thursday, Alan and Chris will be discussing the 2012 horror mystery Sinister. Unfamiliar with that.
I think have heard of it. Maybe seen a preview.
But before we can review it, first we must view it. Give it a watch for free on Pluto TV and catch the review at Grave Reviews on YouTube at 20:00 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Have you listened to Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast?
Sometimes.
I can't remember if it was the MeUndies commercials that he would do it, or it was something. Or he would do the ad read and it would be like, for free. I forget which ad. Somebody remind me.
I don't know,
like,
but you've been using that for a long time.
I know, but it came from him. It came from Bill Burr. I forget what it is, but
Yeah.
So MeUndies have been the exclusive provider of my underwear recently. Not because of a sponsorship or anything else, but because Kathy gets, I guess, discount emails, and so she's like, "Oh, I like these," and then she buys them.
Right.
Like, I think currently I'm wearing Do Not Disturb. They're like pandas with Do Not Disturb
Mm-hmm.
on them for MeUndies.
Okay.
It's good. Good support for the boys on the MeUndies. So sponsor us. Support the official Sidebar Cantina band till the end and buy their shit. Go to https://tilltheendofficial.com to check out their tee sweatshirts and stickers and posters. Fresh new gear is available now. Fresh new gear. The Orange and Fett Show released episode 147, The Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg.
What? All
This
I heard
past
was
Saturday.
shit.
The Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg.
I don't know what you're talking
Shit,
about.
I'm reading it. It's The Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg. Skretberg. Skretteetteburg. Skretberg. Right?
Sure.
The Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg. I feel like I'm saying that, and I'm being
All I'm hearing is the man who shit, and then some gibberish.
The Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg.
Yeah.
Man Who Shit Kane Skretberg. Send him some smeckles. Yeah, I don't know. You know what we'll have to do? We'll have to listen to the Orange and Fett Show and find out what the fuck they're talking about.
Sounds good, and everybody else should as well.
Yeah, no news from layman's terms or Orange and Fett. Well, I just mentioned the Orange and Fett Show, so that's making me a liar. Or the used and abuse. So you can find us at bio.link/sidebar canteen, where you can find our links to Patreon, YouTube, our audio podcast on Apple, Audible, Spotify, and all social media platforms, including X, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, and Discord. Once you get in the bio link, simple click symbols on our pick and go to platform of choice. You can also find all of our past Spotify mixtape playlists. Also in our bio link, a TeePublic merch shop. I feel like I already said that, but I guess I didn't. Choose from 7 designs on set. Everything from t-shirts to hoodies, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers and pins, wall art, magnets, notebooks, laptop cases, and pillows. Just about anything you can imagine. Nothing says loving like a naked Jason chick on a pillow. Go to bio.link/the-sidebar cantina and click merch. And even just observe the naked Jason, and then see what it looks like on a pillow.
It's a sight to behold.
And then just admire it, whether you buy it on a shirt or a pillow or not. All right, hang on. I got on Discord on the in-show chat. I got what hopefully is a clarification on the man who shot Kane Skretberg. The man who shot Kane Skretberg.
Oh.
Not shit.
Why, was that a typo?
Yeah, it's a typo. I will read whatever's on the teleprompter.
That's
guys.
right.
Oh my god. That's really funny.
That's good.
Bronco Fett, make sure you post that like elsewhere too.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Subscribe to our Discord channel as well. And you too can also see the corrections. I'm assuming no reviews.
I didn't check, but I'll assume that as well.
Yeah, write us a review and I'll read it. And we're just gonna leave it at that. I'll read it in a voice.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. And I haven't done a voice in a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun for the boys. If you're listening to us on audio, please consider joining us in the live chat on Mondays. The chat is most definitely where it's at. It's even, it's like on the screen over there, right there. See, look, you too can be on the screen. I just wanted to get the lightsaber out.
Yeah.
The chat is most definitely where it's at. If you're new to Sidebar, please subscribe, ding that bell. Select all, receive notifications when we go live. Remember to smash that like button. It really helps us out. And as always, a huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. You are the reason why we do this. That's what a snap sounds like, as opposed to my.
Just funk.
It's so weird. Why is there a empty jar in my fucking hand? What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
It wasn't always like that.
Oh, that was good.
That made a noise. Oh,
you lost it.
so the left hand wants to do it.
Mm.
This one, nothing. It's going. It's like it. You know what it is? It's you know when you're getting ready to light the grill. If you have a gas grill and you're going to light it, and the little igniter is just going.
Oh yeah,
and making noise and nothing's happening. That's this.
That's
this. It's clicking off, but either the gas isn't coming out or whatever.
So is that all for the reads?
Yeah.
Well, I found our third topic.
Okay.
The sacred city of Carl Supe in central coastal Peru boasts an impressive complex of ancient monumental architecture constructed around 2600 BC.
Remember how I said we weren't going to do like something new because it would require a lot of research?
How is that new?
Carl Supe?
2600 BC.
No. I mean, new to us.
Oh,
for like to get into.
Gotcha.
Like I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Or it's not in my data bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of it if you're not. That's fine. I'll research it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have data points on the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit, I've been in a pyramid, so
yeah,
I feel like I'm overqualified.
Fair enough.
I've watched somebody pee on one of them.
Right.
So, beat that. Yeah, I'm all for it.
All right, cool.
You just have to send me a link to what that is so
Sure.
that I can, because I did not type it that fast because I was trying to decipher what you were saying.
In fact, I'll send it to you on Facebook Messenger right now.
God, why do people do that?
All right, so that's what we're talking about next week. Yeah, no Star Wars topic for next time, but then we'll jump right back into Star Wars stuff soon after, I am sure.
Yes. But spur of the moment, I think that one would be fun. And we did promise the listeners that we would do something on like the pyramids and stuff. I do recall that.
Okay.
It was like around Christmas time. I think we said that we would try and work it in. And since you brought it up and you said you've been watching stuff about it, fucking let's strike while that iron's hot.
All right. Sounds good to me. Okay, well, that's the end of the show, guys. Thank you for everybody who stuck with us on YouTube. Thank you to all of our audio listeners. We still know you're there. We still appreciate you. And,
Yes, and hopefully I posted the last. I'm pretty sure I'm keeping up with the audio.
yeah. And until next time, Dave and everybody else, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Clunk. Sounds like my snap. Okay, now what do I click? That. I click that.
I sent you that topic over Facebook Messenger.
That was the buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Yeah. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Lightyear to the rescue.
What is playing?
That was a Facebook reel. Never you mind.
Dude, I legitimately have. I don't think I've posted anything on Facebook or Instagram in a month, maybe more.
Yeah, I did my June 1st post because I have to do that every year.
What's on June 1st?
It's when corporations say, I'm something of a homosexual myself.
Oh. Oh, is it really?
It's the start of Pride Month.
That's
It's June 1st.
That explains.
And I love that fucking meme
That
with Willem Dafoe.
Right.
I'm something of a homosexual myself.
That explains a lot, actually.
And then, of course, my June 30th meme, which is, what's his name from The Hangover, going, "So long, gay boys."
It all becomes clear now.
Yeah.
It's
It's fine. I mean, no disrespect to gay people, by the way, with those memes. I just think it's hilarious because it's mocking corporations who, when Pride Month comes around, they have all the merch.
right.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's capitalism at its finest.
Yeah. But again, it's no insult to the LGB community.
Scrolling.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now.
All right, you do that.
And we'll see everybody later next week, barring any, life situations.
Cheers.
See ya.